Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Keslar, and I am here today on behalf of Cheers for Charity New Hampshire. And as always, I have the honor of doing this with the fabulous JoAnn Burchuk. Hey, JoAnn.
Hi, Lisa. Yeah, hi, welcome. I'm JoAnn Burchuk with Lighthouse Physical Therapy, and we're excited about this new charity that we have to introduce you to today. So I'd like to welcome Martha, and she's with Foliage Retrievers. And Martha, just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your organization.
Hi, I'm Martha. I run Foliage Retrievers, and so a little bit about the organization. I got started because I just saw a need for an organization that would help individuals who don't qualify at other organizations. And I was one of those people starting out that couldn't get a service dog from anywhere. And along my journey, I got to here where I was able to have the skills to do this. So I wanted to offer it to people.
Yeah, what a great mission. So you help train, or you are looking for people to help train service dogs for people that don't qualify under any of the other programs. And is that pretty typical for people out there? Are you finding that there's a lot of people that fall into that gap?
Oh, yeah. So I started out initially wanting to, just the group that I saw having the most issues were women with PTSD that the PTSD was non-combat related. That was the biggest group. But I kept the mission open. And so the mission is actually to serve underserved communities of individuals that need service dogs. And that way I'm able to learn, as I get these applications, I'm able to learn about other populations that may also be facing similar issues. And then we can sort of grow the program based on what the needs out there actually are versus, my own lived experience. So that's already been huge because I've learned about, even veterans who have organizations out there for them. There are some eligibility criteria at organizations that make it hard for them to access dogs, even if they qualify more so than a civilian might.
See where that would be a problem. And so what are some of the criteria that people would have to qualify for one of yours?
Yeah, so for us, it essentially people need to qualify as having PTSD, and so that involves some paperwork from a care provider, and that then goes to a medical review panel that we have, and we sort of look at, who are they, what are their goals in their recovery process, and do we think that service dog would be beneficial to them, and then also as a safe environment. Those are also some things that we think about, but overall we just want somebody who's going to benefit and is responsible enough for a dog like that.
Sorry, do you actually get the dogs and train the dogs and the whole bit? So they just come to you and you have a beautiful dog maybe ready, or you get one ready for a particular person? How does that work?
Yeah, so basically how it goes is we get 8-week-old puppies, and we raise them up until they're about 2 years old. And during that time, we look at what is their personality, and how do they handle? Are they a dog that doesn't take much of a correction? You just say no, and they're like, oh, I did something wrong. Or do they need somebody who's more experienced? And then I'm also thinking about, do they have a preference for men or women? What do they enjoy doing? Because at its core, I think it's really important with any working dog, or any dog that's on a track to become a working dog, to always sort of evaluate, do they like this job? And so the goal is to provide these dogs to people who need it, and it be a dog that's not only well trained, but then also healthy. Because I take a lot of time to make sure that as far as health clearances and things like that, they're all set.
Amazing. And do the people in need have to belong to a certain geographic area? No.
So it's open. It is open to the US. So there's no it's not closed to anyone really.
And I know there's different kinds of service dogs. Is there a certain like certification they have or something like that?
So there isn't, but what we do is we go through pretty rigorous training in terms of getting them ready in lots of different environments, and then at the end of their training and sort of throughout, we go through some benchmarks, and then there's sort of a public access test that they pass, which is pretty standard in the industry, to make sure that they're living up to what they should be doing.
I loved what does a job look like for the dog?
Yeah, so it kind of varies from person to person. So there are some people who are homebound for a time, and so that might look like going to therapy for virtually, and working with their care team to use the dog for whatever they're working on in therapy. So it would say they're working on exposure therapy. They might say, okay, a goal is to take your dog outside and walk to CVS, for example. And the dog is there to sort of help if anything were to happen. If they were to have a panic attack, they need a medication, what have you. It depends on, what their specific needs are. But the dogs also, I'm also picking based on, how much energy does this dog have? So if I had a client who needed to do a lot of work trips or something and was going to be a frequent flyer, then I might choose a dog who's had a lot more experience doing that and does really well.
Fascinating.
Are you, do you have to purchase the puppies to begin with, or are you have a connection for those? So.
Yeah, I've purchased them, and I've also had some donated as well. So we've done a little of both.
So you raise these puppies till they're 2 before you start the actual training. Then that's a lot of hours. How many are you able to handle at a particular time?
Yeah, so we do kind of rely on puppy raisers to help us. The most we've had at one time in our house. So we have 3 personal dogs, and so we had 7 at one point total. So we had quite a few program puppies. But I like to keep it to 1 to 2. That is a pretty manageable place to be. But it all depends how many raisers we have. If we have a lot of raisers, then we can have a lot more dogs.
What are you finding your biggest needs are right now?
So manpower in terms of puppy raisers, and I would say, because this job is so, it's a difficult job, and it's hard for a dog to, fit the requirements. And I mean, even in the industry, a 50% fill rate or 50% pass rate, or even less, isn't uncommon. And so that can be difficult. So one of our plans in the future is to start a breeding program so that we can, watch these dogs from day one and get a good idea of maybe are there any predictors in their behavior that we can start to track, and then kind of create lines that are more successful. So that's kind of a plan that we're always working on. But yeah, that would be great if we could sort of improve the success rate. And I know everybody in the industry is trying to do that.
Do you find certain breeds naturally are better than others, so you know which ones to kind of target to begin with?
Yeah, so we specifically only train Labrador Retrievers. We just find, their grooming requirements are quite low, and then, if they don't work out, they also have a lot of different purposes that they can go to. They're a really nice, versatile dog.
Amazing. So how many dogs do you provide in a year?
Yeah, so that depends. So this year the goal was to have 3 puppies enter, or sorry, I guess that's last year, 2022. We were aiming for 3 puppies and we ended up with 6. So that was a lot. And so yeah, that's been what we did last year, and then I'd love to be able to double that this year and have 12. But I sort of need to keep up with the help that we have. So it's all dependent on that.
That's awesome. And I see you have a wish list on Amazon if people want to support the puppies.
Yeah, we do. And then we also have one on Chewy as well.
Great. That's awesome. So people can help support your efforts. And how do you fundraise? It's expensive to raise dogs.
Yeah. So part of it is as far as procuring puppies, my partner and I are very involved in some Labrador Retriever clubs. And so we have to go to shows. It's sort of, I joke that it's my networking event and it's the best thing ever. But it's nice because I get to see, how does a dog break down over time? Is a line producing gaits that are a little awkward? It's very complicated, but so I go there and meet people who might be interested in the mission and might be willing to donate a dog in the future. So that's one way we go about that. And then we kind of go out in the local community. We've done some things at Moulton Farms in Meredith. They had a Christmas kind of event, and we were there with some puppies, and that was a great time. So, and then we're trying to plan some things for this year as well, but kind of just getting into the local community and making sure that the people here understand what we're doing, and also just kind of raising awareness of the differences between service dogs and therapy dogs and emotional support animals, so that if anyone in the local area were going into a business, they would also they wouldn't face any kind of barriers. So I feel that that's kind of our responsibility.
That's a great question. What is the, very high level in a quick way? So what is the differences between those 3?
Yeah, so I actually like to use the name. So for service dogs, I like to say the S in service dogs is for single person. So they only assist one individual with a disability, and they perform tasks for them. And that's the most crucial part of a service dog, is that they perform tasks that mitigate an individual's disability. A therapy dog would be 2 or more people. It's helping 2 or more people, and they're going into facilities, but they don't have access to any place that they want to go to, and they also don't perform tasks. So they're really just there for comfort. And then the third, emotional support animals, they've got some complicated rules surrounding them, but essentially, again, they don't have any tasks related to them. They're really just there for comfort.
Fascinating. Taking notes. Awesome. So if people want to learn more about this amazing organization that you've put together and all the things you do, how can they get in touch? How can they follow? How can they learn?
Yeah, we try to be pretty active on, I'm sorry. We try to be pretty active on social media, on Instagram, at Foliage Retrievers. And we're also on Facebook and their website too. So those are the best places, and our email is on there as well if anyone wants to get involved.
Awesome. Fantastic. I've been on your website and I just want to squeeze all those puppies. Oh my God, they're adorable. Oh my God.
Thank you. They're all very good. So I mean we work 24/7, but it's around dogs, so that's okay.
Yeah, what a gift. Yeah.
And what a
that's
great
awesome.
service to provide these for people in need. Just love it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for sharing what you do with us.
Thank you.
It's wonderful. So we really enjoyed talking to you today.
Thank you. So did I. Thank you for having me.